What's up, YouTube community, and welcome back to the infamous Emperor Atheist channel with your host, Emperor Atheist. Oh yeah, I hope y'all been enjoying our Three Black Heathen show. We had a few, I guess, technical difficulties with the second show, but we got that underway, so that's all good. So make sure you tell all your friends to subscribe to me here at Emperor Atheist, and also subscribe to our channel 3 Black Heathen show with me, Nate Brody, and Dragnot. But today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite subjects, I guess. That would be the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that is. Think about this for a minute, Christians, Muslims, whoever you want to, even though I know Muslims don't believe in the resurrections, but just think about this, people, just in a general sense of just thinking about something that could make sense or something that could make no damn sense. In this case, I would refer to the latter. I think the resurrection of anybody makes no damn sense. We've never seen it. Why would we believe it? Why do people believe it? Why do billions of Christians celebrate this Easter celebration in April every year? They actually believe this stuff. They eat crackers and drink juice for this ceremony. Believe that he sacrificed his body and resurrected from the dead. Not only do they believe that Jesus Christ resurrected from the dead after 2 days and 3 days, whatever you want to call it, the math is messed up. Not only believe this, they believe this Jesus guy also raised Jairus' daughter within the New Testament, also raised Lazarus from the dead, and also raised the son of the widow named Nain in the New Testament. Now, do we have actual historical evidence for any of this? Of course we don't. And we probably never have any evidence for this because 9 times out of 10 it didn't happen. Probably safe to say 10 times out of 10 it didn't happen. But just think about it. Let's just focus on the actual reasoning and logical stance of Jesus Christ dying for the world's sins so that people could be saved. First of all, let's get some historical narrative on this thing. When we think about Rome, we have any Roman records of any of this. I don't know, a lot of people say, well, Rome was, this is what they did. Rome was too big to just think about such a small thing as killing Jesus. Well, why not? Because according to the New Testament mythos writing, the high priest came to Pilate and basically tried to make a case that, this guy was violating Roman rules some kind of way because of the Passover, things that he done. So important as Pilate was, Pontius Pilate, which we do have records of, historical records of, as important as a position as he held, it seems kind of strange that he would take out the time in his important Roman rule life to kill somebody who was basically a religious fanatic who claimed to be the son of Zeus or God or whoever you wanted to claim to have been the son of. It don't seem that important to me that was such a crime that Pilate would have actually allowed some Jewish religious leaders to convince him to actually have this man murdered on a cross. That's the first illogical thing I think we should pay attention to. What was so important about what these Jewish leaders told Pilate that would make Pilate listen to what they had to say? Because the New Testament paints the picture as if these particular Jewish leaders had a lot of power and persuasion over Pilate. And we know that's just not the damn truth during that first century CE or AD. So that's the first lie that I think that we should all reconcile and recognize that just couldn't have been the case. That was a big exaggeration on the New Testament writers. Secondly, when we talk about Jesus Christ dying for the sins of the world. Secondly, I want to talk about how did the Jews think? We're talking about first century Judaism. What did they believe as far as so-called prophecies of the Torah or the Talmud or the Talmudic writings or just the Tanakh in itself? What did they believe as far as futuristic happenings of their God, Yahweh? Well, they definitely didn't believe that some messianic person would come and have to die and then be resurrected. No. They didn't believe any hogwash like this. They believed other hogwash. But they did believe that a messianic person would come that would more so fit the role of David, King David, which would not come to be somebody that would die for sins or be passive, but basically someone who would physically come, a Messiah who would physically come representing the tribe of Judah and the rest of Israel, and would basically overthrow Rome and the Caesars. And this would be this would be to them, this is how the Jews were thinking, that their prophecy would unfold, that this particular Messiah would be a ruler, and he would have an army, a military, and he would come and overthrow a Roman rule. Well, of course, this didn't happen. So Jesus definitely didn't fit the first century Jews' idea of any type of prophecy being fulfilled from the Tanakh or the Torah. So where did this Christian BS come from? This resurrection thing. We know that we have different mythical resurrections in the past, but I won't focus on that in this video. I'll focus on that in a lot of other videos. I want to basically focus on why the resurrection, simply, just the simple part of it, why it makes no damn sense. Think about this. If someone is going to sacrifice their life for the sins of the world, we're talking about for centuries to come, why would he just sacrifice his weekend? I think it's a good question to ask. I mean, think about this. He only sacrificed his weekend. Now, I think it would be a greater argument if you was to tell me, well, hey, Jesus died for our sins and he's still dead. This man only gave up his weekend. I give up a weekend, just sometimes just to play video games or maybe take my grandkids out. Giving up a weekend is not a big deal. So why in the hell do we put so much stock? Because Jesus only gave up his weekend. Basically, he already damn knew, because he was in cohorts with his God in the sky, God the Father, right? So he already knew he wasn't going to stay dead. So, I mean, what's the big damn deal about Jesus giving up his weekend? He only gave up his weekend for you Christians. That's not a big deal. I mean, it's nothing. If he'd have stayed dead, I think you would have a strong argument. He didn't stay dead. He rose back up, shot to heaven. Hey, man, he up there, in the land of milk and honey while you still down here catching hell. Prices going up on you. Donald Trump's your president. I mean, I don't think Jesus really looked out for you people. That's basically all I had to say, man. Just think about that. What did Jesus sacrifice just giving up a weekend? Don't make no damn sense to me. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but me, when I just think about that, the only thing comes to mind to me when you just say, well, Jesus died for my sins. And I ask you, well, how long did Jesus die? Well, he gave us a weekend for all of our sins. I mean, only thing that comes to my mind is basically,
shut up. You don't know nothing about anything.
I mean, maybe that's a little harsh, but I guess stupidity is all that can come to my mind when I think about this so-called sacrifice of this Jesus Christ guy. I mean, he only gave up a weekend. I mean, like I said, you would have a stronger argument, Christians, if he just was still dead. Like right now, if maybe you could change your doctrine some kind of way, like you've always changed it over and over again. If you could just change your doctrine and say, hey, Jesus really didn't, or we could go back to the beginning of this mythical religion and say, hey, there was a guy named Jesus Christ. He was the messianic prophecy of the Old Testament or whatever. He was the Lion of Judah, blah, 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 all this garbage. And say, hey, he came and in the first century AD, he died for the sins of the people, even those that was going to come future generations. And he's still dead. Matter of fact, his sepulchre is still there in Jerusalem somewhere, in Gethsemane or wherever. And you know what? That would be a great argument. That would be a better argument. Because then you can say, hey, this guy is right here, is dead in this skeleton or whatever, these remains. He died for the world's sins, and he's going to meet us up in heaven. He's going to resurrect with us. I don't know. But I think that the writers of the New Testament, they had to come up with something that was just unfucking believable. Unbelievable is the word, because the shit is unbelievable. I don't believe that shit. But they had to come up with it. And they came up with something that was so supernatural and so, I guess, mind-boggling. And then you have, on the other hand, you have Christian apologists who say, well, see, this is what a lot of them say. Christian scholars who use these excuses to believe in this nonsense. They say, well, think about it. No early Christians would have took a chance and made up stories So crazy. There's no way they had to believe that this was true. Because, you know, when Mary Magdalene and other women came back to let the disciples know that Jesus had resurrected, even the disciples didn't believe it, and so forth and so on. And so this story has to be real because it's just so out there. You know, it's such a crazy story. So this is some of the excuses that some Christian scholars have used over the years, saying that there's no way that it's false because it's just such an incredible story. Like, in other words, who would have just made that up? That's basically the story. And that is a terrible logical fallacy. Just because you think it's a stupid story from the beginning or an unbelievable story from the beginning doesn't mean that it's believable. So that's such a stupid, weak fallacy. But I'm just letting you know those are some of the fallacies that Christian apologists have used over the years. William Lane Craig is good at doing that. In other words, saying the disciples could have just made something up like that in the first century because it made them look crazy. Well, it's making them look crazy right damn now. It looked real crazy. Whoever wrote the New Testament and talked about all these supernatural, superfluous stories, super crazy stories, they still look crazy. They look crazy today to intelligent people, to logical people. They only look sensible to the people who believe this stuff and who has been indoctrinated from birth. Like it used to look good to me. There's no way in hell I would have questioned the resurrection. It was just natural for me to believe that because this is what my parents taught me growing up in the West, growing up in America, specifically in the South. There's no way in the hell. There was no strong doubt in my mind that the New Testament was just false and made up. You asked me back years ago, do you think Jesus resurrected from your sin? Yeah, I believed it, and I believe all those going to resurrect in the end. No, not thinking about the illogical items that goes along with these stupid stories. That didn't come till later. So, yeah, it's a stupid story, and the only people that believe it now are basically the Christians who worship this false book and who actually commemorate this Easter thing every year. So I just wanted to make that point, make that video about, you know, just giving up a weekend is not a lot. I mean, he didn't do much. I just don't think that was a great sacrifice for somebody who already knew basically his father, his daddy, his celestial daddy was going to resurrect him anyway Sunday morning. It just don't make sense. It's not a great sacrifice. So even if it did happen, I think Jesus should stay dead at least a week. I think that's, you might say I'm being ungrateful, but I don't think so. I think it's a logical stance. I think it's a logical stance to take. A weekend, he only gave a weekend. That's nothing. That's not just like a serious sacrifice. It's not something that I should take serious just because he gave up a weekend. People give up weekends all the time to work for their family. People give up weekends to do way more important stuff than that. So I just don't take that serious, him dying over the weekend for the world's sins for centuries and centuries to come. I'm not going for it. I'm your host, Emperor Atheist. Once again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for all your likes and your dislikes. Keep sharing and liking my videos, y'all. Keep doing it. And I know I've been off for Emperor Atheist Sundays for the last 2 weeks, but I will be back. Just been trying to get this Three Heathen Show thing on the move. But once again, man, subscribe. Get other people subscribe to the Emperor Atheist channel. I'm your host, Emperor Atheist, once again. Peace.